She arrived already prepared, not rushed, not nervous, prepared in the way you are when you think you know what kind of night it will be, the kind where rules are simple, where bodies speak before words do, where expectation moves faster than thought. The room matched her assumption. Low light, clean sheets, a chair pulled slightly away from the wall, as if someone had considered sitting there for a while. The air held warmth without being heavy, like something had already happened and chosen not to announce itself. She set her bag down and didn't sit immediately. Standing kept her in control. Standing kept her ahead of the moment. He was already there. Not close, not distant, positioned carefully, like distance itself had been measured. He didn't look at her right away. He didn't avoid her either. His attention felt present without being aimed. That was the first detail that felt off. Usually attention rushed. She let the silence exist long enough to be noticed, then long enough to be uncomfortable. She waited for him to fill it. People always did. He didn't. She smiled faintly, the kind of smile that suggested she understood how this worked. She removed her jacket slowly, folding it instead of tossing it aside. A small signal, intentional. She wanted the room to see that she wasn't careless with herself. He noticed. He just didn't move. The bed was there, waiting, not inviting, waiting. She sat on the edge, letting the mattress dip beneath her weight. The sheets were cool at first, then warmed quickly, adjusting to her as if they had expected her shape. That felt familiar. She leaned back slightly, resting her hands behind her, opening her posture without offering anything outright. This was the language she knew. The quiet signals, the pauses that felt like permission if you leaned into them hard enough. "You're comfortable," she said. "Yes," he replied. The answer came easily, too easily. She shifted, crossing one leg over the other, letting movement do the work words didn't need to. The room felt smaller now, not because of closeness, but because of focus. "You're quiet," she said. "I'm listening," he replied. That distinction landed heavier than she expected. Listening wasn't anticipation. Listening didn't rush toward resolution. She laughed softly, dark humor flickering at the edge of it. "This isn't how it usually goes." "I know," he said. She studied him more carefully now. The way his posture stayed relaxed, the way his hands rested open instead of reaching, the way his attention didn't slide over her body, but held the space around her. "You don't seem eager," she said. "I am," he replied. The contradiction caught her off guard. She leaned forward, elbows resting on her knees, bringing herself closer without closing the distance entirely. She expected his breath to change, his eyes to sharpen, some sign that the assumption was correct. It didn't come. "What are you waiting for?" she said. "For you to notice what you're doing," he replied. Her brows knit slightly. "I know what I'm doing," she said. "Yes," he said. "You're preparing for something physical." The words felt like a mirror she hadn't expected to look into. "And that's not why you're here," she said. "No," he replied. "It's why you think you are." The silence that followed was different, not empty, not stretched thin. It felt deliberate, like a held note that refused to resolve. She straightened, irritation threading lightly through her confidence. "You're telling me you're not interested," she said. "No," he replied. "I'm telling you I'm interested in what happens before that." She exhaled slowly through her nose. Most people treated the moment before as an obstacle, a delay, something to get through so the real thing could begin. He was treating it like the point. She stood, moving a few steps closer, then stopping, close enough to feel his presence clearly, far enough to keep the line intact. "This feels like a game," she said. "Yes," he replied. "Just not the one you practiced." She circled him slowly, not touching, letting the movement exist without commentary. She expected him to turn, to follow, to respond with his body. He stayed still. The lack of reaction was louder than any movement could have been. "You're very patient," she said. "Yes." "And you enjoy this?" "Yes." The honesty unsettled her more than denial would have. Denial could be challenged. This felt chosen. She returned to the bed and sat again, this time without choreography. The mattress accepted her weight without ceremony. The warmth returned quickly, grounding and familiar. She realized then that the room had been set up perfectly for something physical, and that he was refusing to use it. "You're letting the bed do all the work," she said. "Yes." "And you're not helping." "No." The dark humor surfaced again, sharper now. She had prepared her body, her timing, her expectations. She had shown up armored for intimacy that moved fast and burned out just as quickly. Instead, she was being asked to sit still. She leaned back fully, stretching out on the bed, arms resting loosely at her sides. The sheets whispered softly beneath her, the sound intimate in a way that felt unearned. "You know what I expected," she said. "Yes." "And you're not correcting me." "No." She turned her head to look at him, eyes steady. "You're letting me sit in it," she said. "Yes." The waiting shifted then. It stopped being about him doing something. It started being about her not doing anything. She felt it in her body first. A low awareness that wasn't heat, wasn't hunger. Something tighter, more precise. The realization that without movement, without escalation, there was nothing to hide behind. She sat up again, slower this time. "This is uncomfortable," she said. "Yes." "And you're fine with that." "Yes." She laughed once, short and dry. "You're not supposed to be." "I know," he replied. She swung her legs off the bed and stood, grounding herself in the cool floor. The loss of warmth felt intentional now, like the bed was no longer cooperating. "You're not going to touch me," she said. "No." "And you're not going to leave." "No." The certainty in his voice made her pause. "Then what?" she said. "Then," he replied, "you'll stop preparing for something that isn't happening." The words settled slowly, rearranging her expectations piece by piece. She looked around the room again. The light, the bed, the chair. Everything had been designed for a version of the night that no longer existed. She smiled. Smaller this time. More real. "I thought it would be physical," she said. "I know," he replied. "And it's not." "No." She nodded slowly. The silence returned. But now it felt different. Not like a pause waiting to be filled. Like a space being cleared. She realized then that the danger wasn't in what might happen. It was in what already had. She had arrived prepared for touch. She was being asked to face attention. The night had just begun. She stayed standing longer than she needed to. The room didn't ask her to sit. The bed didn't invite her back. Everything waited, and that waiting felt deliberate now, like a choice being made without her consent. She turned toward him again, slower this time, as if speed itself had become suspicious. He hadn't moved, not an inch. The same calm posture, the same attention that didn't lean forward or pull away. "You're very comfortable with this," she said. "Yes," he replied, "with making me wait." "Yes." The honesty pressed into her, quiet but firm. She had always believed waiting belonged to the person who wanted more, the one who needed something, the one who was unsure. She wasn't used to being any of those. She walked back to the bed and sat again, not at the edge this time, farther in, claiming space without invitation. The mattress dipped, then steadied. The sheets whispered softly, the sound intimate in a way that felt exposed. "You're not even pretending," she said. "No," he replied. She leaned back on her hands, letting her shoulders open, her chest lift slightly. The movement wasn't planned. It came from the body's instinct to respond to attention, even when that attention refused to act. "You could make this easier," she said. "Yes." "And you're choosing not to." "Yes." The repetition didn't frustrate her anymore. It focused her. Each answer removed another excuse, another familiar path. She shifted again, this time stretching out fully on the bed, not performing, settling. The sheets accepted her, smoothing beneath her weight. The room felt closer now, like it had leaned in to listen. Across from her, he remained seated. The distance felt sharper from this angle, more intentional, like a line drawn not on the floor, but through the air. "You know what this does," she said. "Yes." "And you're letting it happen." "Yes." She closed her eyes briefly, not to escape, but to feel. The absence of touch made every sensation louder. The way the mattress supported her spine, the way the air moved across her skin, the way awareness pooled low and slow, without direction. When she opened her eyes again, the ceiling felt closer than before. "This is unfair," she said softly. "Yes," he replied. "And you don't care." "No," he said. "I care very much." The distinction landed carefully. Caring without fixing. Wanting without taking. It made her swallow. She rolled onto her side, facing him again, propping herself on one elbow. Her hair fell forward, framing her face. She didn't adjust it. She let it be messy, unguarded. "You're watching me unravel," she said. "I'm watching you notice," he replied. The words slid under her skin. She laughed quietly, dark humor threading through the sound. "I prepared for the wrong kind of exposure," she said. "Yes." "I thought it would be skin," she continued. "And it's not." "No." She nodded slowly. The truth of it settled deeper now. The stillness was doing something to her that movement never had. It was stripping away the performance she usually relied on. She sat up again and swung her legs off the bed, feet finding the cool floor. The temperature difference grounded her, sharpened her focus. "You're not going to save me from this," she said. "No." "And you're not enjoying my discomfort." "I'm enjoying your clarity," he said. That was worse. She stood and walked toward him, stopping closer than before. Close enough now to feel the warmth of his presence clearly. Not imagined. Real. Alive. He didn't step back. He didn't step forward. The space between them felt deliberate, held in place by mutual agreement rather than restraint. "You could touch me," she said. "Yes." "And you're still not." "No." She tilted her head slightly, studying him from this distance. The steadiness, the patience, the refusal to take advantage of proximity. "You're letting me choose," she said. "Yes." "That's dangerous?" "Yes." She smiled slowly, something dark and appreciative passing through her expression. "You enjoy danger," she said. "I enjoy consent," he replied. The word landed clean and heavy. Not performative, not loud. It reframed everything she thought she had prepared for. She stepped back first, breaking the closeness herself. The release of that small decision sent a quiet ripple through her body, a sense of control, returning where it had slipped earlier. She returned to the bed and sat, posture relaxed now, less defensive. The bed felt neutral beneath her. No longer a stage, just a surface. "You're changing the rules," she said. "No," he replied. "I'm showing you which ones were assumed." She leaned back against the headboard, breathing steady, eyes on him. The awareness between them no longer felt sharp. It felt deep. "This feels intimate," she said. "Yes." "And nothing has happened." "No." She laughed softly, the sound warmer now. "That's unsettling." "Yes." "And satisfying." "Yes." The dark humor softened into something quieter. The room felt settled, like it had accepted the new shape of the night. She crossed her legs loosely and rested her hands on her knees. No performance, no invitation, just presence. "You're not waiting for me to give in," she said. "No." "You're waiting for me to arrive." "Yes." The clarity in that answer made her chest tighten, not with urgency, but recognition. She had arrived prepared to be seen physically. She was being asked to be seen fully. She stood again, slower now, and walked to the window. The city glowed back at her, distant and indifferent. She pressed her palm lightly to the glass, feeling the cool surface steady her. "This could end," she said. "Yes." "And it wouldn't feel unfinished." "No." She turned back to him and smiled, real and unguarded. "I didn't expect this," she said. "I know," he replied. "And I don't hate it." "No." The room held steady. No one rushed to change it. The tension remained, dark and alive, but no longer demanding resolution. She returned to the bed and sat, folding her legs beneath her, posture calm and present. The stillness no longer felt like a challenge. It felt like an invitation she was finally ready to understand. The night continued, quiet and deliberate, and she realized the most sexual thing in the room wasn't touch. It was the permission to stay exactly where she was, without being taken. The room felt smaller without anything changing. Same light, same furniture, same careful distance. Yet something had shifted again, subtle but undeniable, like the air had learned a new rule and decided not to announce it. She felt it in her shoulders first, the way they no longer held themselves up for display. They simply existed. She sat on the bed, legs folded beneath her, hands resting loosely in her lap. This posture wasn't familiar. It didn't show anything, it didn't hide anything either. It felt honest in a way that made her strangely alert. "You're quieter now," he said. "Yes," she replied. "Not because you're unsure." "No." "Because you're listening," he said. She smiled faintly. "I learned from you." The dark humor landed softly, not sharp anymore. The tension hadn't disappeared. It had moved inward, like something private she hadn't planned to share with herself. She leaned back against the headboard and closed her eyes for a moment. Without sight, the room felt closer. Every sound mattered. The faint shift of fabric when he adjusted his posture. The distant city noise pressing against the window. Her own breathing, slower than before. She opened her eyes again and looked at him. "This is dangerous," she said. "Yes," he replied. "Not because of what might happen." "No." "But because of what already has." He nodded once. "You stopped performing," he said. The words settled deep. She hadn't realized when it happened, only that it had. The careful signals, the practiced pauses, the small movements designed to pull attention forward had all gone quiet. "What happens now?" she asked. He smiled slightly. "Now you notice what you actually want." That unsettled her more than the waiting ever had. She shifted, stretching one leg out slowly, letting her heel rest against the mattress. The movement wasn't seductive. It was exploratory, testing how it felt to move without aiming for a response. He watched, not her body, the choice. She felt it like a low pulse, steady and persistent. The desire hadn't grown louder. It had become clearer, less about being wanted, more about wanting without hiding behind expectation. "I thought desire needed movement," she said. "It needs permission," he replied. She laughed quietly. "That's worse." "Yes." She sat up straighter, attention sharpening again. "You're saying the most intimate thing that's happened tonight is that nothing was taken." "Yes. And that makes me feel more exposed than if you had touched me." "Yes." She nodded slowly. The truth of it warmed her in a way the bed never had. touch would have given her a role. This had given her responsibility. She stood and walked toward him again, not stopping as early this time, but not closing the distance completely either. The space between them felt alive, humming with unspent energy that didn't ask to be spent. "You're still not reaching," she said. "No." "And I'm still not asking." "Yes." The balance felt precise now, like a blade laid perfectly flat. Any sudden movement would ruin it. She stopped a breath away and lifted her hand, not to touch, but to feel the air. It was warmer here. Real warmth. Human warmth. Her fingers trembled slightly, not from fear, but from awareness. He didn't move. She lowered her hand again and stepped back, breaking the moment herself. The control in that choice sent a slow wave through her body, deep and grounding. She returned to the bed and sat, posture calm, eyes steady. "I thought this would be simpler," she said. "Yes." "I thought it would be physical," she added. "And now," he said, "and now it feels mental," she finished. He nodded. "That's where it stays if you let it." She considered that, feeling the truth of it resonate somewhere quiet. Mental didn't mean distant. It meant deliberate. It meant she couldn't disappear into sensation and call it connection. She lay back again, arms folded loosely over her stomach, eyes on the ceiling. The bed felt neutral now, supportive without persuasion. The room felt balanced, like it had found its center. She spoke again, softer this time. "I don't feel rushed." "Good." "I don't feel trapped." "Good." "I feel seen." He didn't answer right away. When he did, his voice was calm and even. "Then you're exactly where you should be." She smiled, not sharp, not guarded, real. The night continued like that, unhurried and exact. They spoke occasionally, not to fill the silence, but to place something true inside it. Small things, preferences, boundaries named without apology. The erotic tension didn't demand release. It matured into something steady and intentional, like a fire kept low enough to last. She realized then that this was the turn, not toward action, toward understanding. She had come expecting the body to lead. Instead, she was being asked to choose with her mind fully awake. And for the first time, that felt more intimate than anything else that could have happened. The night settled into something deliberate, not quiet, not loud, intentional. She felt it when she shifted her weight on the bed, when the mattress responded without persuasion, when her body stopped waiting for instruction and simply existed. The room no longer felt like a stage. It felt like a place where decisions carried weight. He remained where he was, neither approaching nor retreating, his presence steady in a way that no longer unsettled her. It grounded her. The distance between them had changed shape again. It was no longer a test or a restraint. It was an agreement. She sat up slowly, drawing one knee toward her chest, resting her arm across it. The posture was casual, unguarded, not designed. The awareness in her body deepened, spreading with a calm intensity that felt distinctly her own. "This feels different now," she said. "Yes," he replied. "Not quieter." "No." "Clearer." "Yes." The words settled into her chest, warm and precise. Clarity had always been dangerous for her. It stripped away excuses. It removed the safety of misunderstanding. She stood and crossed the room again, not to provoke, not to test, to feel how movement lived in this new shape of the moment. Her bare feet made little sound on the floor, each step grounding her further. He turned slightly to keep her in view, his movements minimal, intentional. "You're not following," she said. "No." "And you're not resisting." "No." The balance between those truths made her smile, slow and dark. This was not tension pulled tight. This was tension tuned. She stopped a few steps away, close enough now that the air felt warmer, charged by proximity rather than memory. She could feel the outline of him without touching, the presence sharp and steady. "I could change this," she said. "Yes, and you would let me." "Yes." The permission in that word did not feel like surrender. It felt like respect. That distinction sent a low, steady warmth through her, different from heat, different from hunger. She reached up slowly and brushed her fingers along the edge of his sleeve, just enough to feel fabric beneath her skin. The contact was brief, intentional, real. He did not move. The restraint in that moment was louder than any reaction could have been. It wrapped around her awareness, not tightening, not loosening, holding. She let her hand fall away and stepped back, breaking the contact herself. The choice echoed through her body, a quiet satisfaction settling low and deep. She returned to the bed and sat, posture relaxed, eyes steady on him. "That," she said, "felt more intense than I expected." "Yes," he replied. "And we barely touched." "Yes." The dark humor returned, soft but unmistakable. She shook her head slightly, amused and unsettled all at once. "I prepared for the wrong kind of intensity," she said. "I know," he replied. She leaned back against the headboard and let her head rest there, eyes half closed. The room felt balanced now, like it had stopped leaning toward any outcome and was content to hold what existed. She breathed slowly, deliberately, noticing how her body responded without being pushed. The desire was still there, unmistakable, but it no longer demanded urgency. It felt chosen, contained, and somehow deeper because of it. "You know," she said after a moment, "I usually lose interest once things slow down." "Yes," he replied, "and this hasn't." "No." She opened her eyes and looked at him again, really looked. The steadiness was still there, but now it felt shared. Something they were both maintaining, not something he was imposing. "That scares me a little," she said. "Yes." "But it also feels right." "Yes." She smiled, genuine now, no edge left to hide behind. She swung her legs off the bed and stood again, moving closer with a confidence that felt earned rather than rehearsed. She stopped just short of him, close enough that the space between them felt intentional rather than protective. She could feel his warmth clearly now, the difference between imagined closeness and real presence. "This is where it usually goes wrong," she said. "Yes." "Someone rushes." "Yes." "Someone assumes." "Yes." She nodded slowly. "And neither of us is doing that." "No." The satisfaction in that realization settled warmly in her chest. She lifted her hand again, this time resting it briefly against his shoulder, feeling the solidity beneath her palm. The contact was simple, grounded, real. He placed his hand lightly over hers, not pressing, not pulling, just acknowledging. The moment expanded without breaking. She withdrew her hand and stepped back, not out of fear, but out of intention. She returned to the bed and sat, folding her legs beneath her, posture calm and present. "This is the first time," she said, "that I don't feel like I'm performing." "Yes." "And the first time I don't feel like I'm being watched." "Yes." She laughed softly. "That makes no sense." "It does," he replied. She nodded, accepting the paradox. Some things made sense only when felt, not explained. The night continued in that shape, unhurried and precise. They spoke quietly, occasionally, not to fill space but to place something true into it. Boundaries named without apology. Desires acknowledged without demand. The erotic tension did not fade. It matured, settling into something steady and intentional, like a low flame that didn't need to flare to be felt. She realized then that the moment had already crossed its most important threshold, not into action, into choice. She lay back once more, hands resting loosely at her sides, eyes on the ceiling. The bed felt supportive, neutral, no longer persuasive. She smiled to herself, a quiet satisfaction settling in. She had thought it would be physical. Instead, it had become deliberate. And for the first time, that felt like exactly what she wanted. Morning arrived without urgency. Light slipped into the room slowly, touching the edges of things before settling anywhere important. The night had loosened its grip without protest, leaving behind a quiet that felt earned rather than empty. She woke already aware, not alert, not guarded, just present in her body, in the space, in the fact that nothing had gone wrong by not being rushed. The bed beneath her felt neutral now, neither tempting nor distant, simply supportive. He was still there, not watching, not waiting, just existing in the same morning, near the window. Posture easy, attention unforced. The distance between them no longer felt like a line or a rule. It felt like something they had already crossed together. She sat up and stretched, feeling the simple pleasure of movement without intention. No performance, no signal, just waking. "You're calm," she said. "Yes," he replied. "So am I." He smiled faintly, the kind of smile that didn't try to mean more than it did. She stood and crossed the room barefoot, stopping close to him. This time there was no hesitation, no calculation. The space between them closed naturally, like it had been waiting for the right reason. She rested her forehead lightly against his shoulder and exhaled. "That," she said softly, "feels right." "Yes," he replied. She stayed there for a moment, letting contact exist without asking it to become something else. His presence felt steady, not consuming, not distant, just present. When she stepped back, she didn't feel the loss she had expected. The connection remained, quieter but intact. She laughed gently. Dark humor softened into warmth. "I spent so long preparing for something intense," she said, "and this feels better." "Yes," he said, "because it's yours." They moved through the morning together without ceremony. Coffee brewed, the window opened wider, the city filtered in, ordinary and alive. Nothing about the moment demanded secrecy or urgency. Later, they sat side by side on the bed, shoulders touching, not because they had to be close, but because they wanted to be. Conversation came easily now, not circling tension, but sharing small truths, preferences, habits, things they valued without needing to defend. She noticed how her body stayed relaxed, how desire felt steady instead of sharp. It didn't pull her forward or push her away. It simply existed, comfortable with time. "I don't feel like I missed anything," she said. "No," he replied. "You arrived." She nodded, understanding settling into her chest. She had arrived not at a moment, but at herself. She lay back again, this time inviting him beside her with a simple shift of space. He joined her without hesitation, the mattress dipping to hold them both. Their bodies aligned naturally, not tangled, not distant. The warmth between them felt different now, not dangerous, not borrowed, chosen. She rested her head against his shoulder, feeling the steady rise and fall of his breath. His arm rested lightly along her side, not claiming, not hovering. The contact was calm, intimate, without urgency. "This," she said quietly, "is satisfying." "Yes," he replied. "And I don't feel rushed." "No." "And I don't feel like I owe anything." "No." The happiness in that realization was gentle, but deep. Not loud, not dramatic, real. They stayed there for a while, letting the moment settle without trying to preserve it. The night had done its work. The morning wasn't asking for more. When she finally closed her eyes again, it wasn't to escape or wait. It was to rest. She smiled faintly, content. She had thought it would be physical. Instead, It had been intentional, and that made all the difference.